but you and I are from the tech and telecoms industry and a background. So why don't we circle back to that side of the world now as well? Because you've recently got this new project off the ground again with Ed, and you and I went through it just yesterday, actually.
Yeah.
Really interesting in project. So called Woot, yes?
Yeah, Woot. Yeah. So, as I said earlier, my background was financial trading and call recording, and in financial trading, they historically haven't used traditional communication methods. So they don't necessarily have a telephone and call someone and then it plays ringing. Their method of communicating, certainly in a voice world, was push to talk. Push a button, start speaking, everybody hears it instantly. And one of the things that Ed and I always wanted to do was create a cloud-based trader voice platform where you got instant push to talk, but without clunky hardware and everything on a desk. About midway through last year, Ed and I were discussing it again and looking at the market. We realized that the market hadn't moved on quite as quick as we thought it might, and there was still an opportunity there. So I had the opportunity to invest in that. That method of communication in trader voice is called hoot and holler, which is where Woot comes from, basically. But as we were developing the platform, we realized that there were a lot of applications for Woot outside of financial trading. You've got a perfect storm right now. There's a lot of disparate teams working remotely, and organizations want teams to be more collaborative, and their answer to that is bring everybody back to the office. But that's not possible because you've got this disparate workforce, and if you want the best talent, then people are used to working at home. So how can you bring that instant team communication that you would have in an office back to everybody? And that's where Woot fits in. So it's instant push to talk, no dial tone. You just push a button and you start talking, and you've got real-time transcription in there, call recording, analytics, catch me up feature, and everything else. And then earlier this year, someone pointed out and said, "Oh, have you heard of Martin's Law?" And I said no. And I did a bit of research on Martin's Law, which is a bit of a revamp of the Anti-Terrorism Act and guidelines and procedures for public venues, and that puts in place a set of guidelines for public venues to improve incident response and communication. And a lot of that is instant voice communication, not just relying on radios, and then transcribing that and being able to replay the scenario, which is all of the functionality of Woot out of the box, but by accident, basically.
And I found it fascinating when we went through a demo of it yesterday, and it was really fascinating to go through. And I started thinking about the applications here, particularly, I wasn't also aware of Martin's Law or the incident management piece, but I could really see that application, that use case. And then I think about it in terms of now remote development teams, project teams that are scattered now and developing, code, developing technology, or just managing projects and in that way, and having this kind of this. Well, it's like a virtual. It's like virtually sitting next to each other, and you just turn around and say something, and that person can respond back if they're there. But I liked all the other features that it had in there in terms of the transcription. I was very impressed by the transcription.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, that can be a little accuracy can be a challenge for some transcription tools, but I was very impressed with the speed and the accuracy of those tools, of that transcription, but also then that ability. You had this lovely little feature that's just so aptly named, Was it called Catch Me Up?
Catch Me Up. So yeah, a bit of background on that. Unified communications came out. I don't want to bore everybody, but unified communications came out because email was seen as non-real time and pretty lethargic, and your email box was just filling up. So everybody came around to unified communications with instant messaging. So this is going to speed up communication, but instant messaging has now got all the pitfalls of email. It's not real time. You ignore messages. They store up. They're just in a different place, basically. So that's the idea behind Woot, is to to make communication instant. But the thing is if you walk away from your computer, or there's an app on your mobile as well. If you're not looking at it all of the time, you're in a meeting, and then you come back and you see that there's been some activity, rather than scrolling back through everything and trying to work it out, you can just click this one button called Catch Me Up, and our wonderful AI friend will go away, have a look at the context of the conversation, and build you a little summary that you can review instantly, rather than trawling back through messages and messages.
And the thing that struck me about it is that it also worked out when you were last involved in the conversation. So so whether that was 1 minute ago, 5 minutes ago, or a couple of hours ago, it went back and reviewed based on that. And then there's all the post analysis that you can do, and recording, and go back and review and things like that. So you have really interesting so where is Woot now in its journey? So how can others find out?
We launched in March. There's stacks of information on the website. There is a free trial that everybody can just sign up to. It literally takes 30 seconds. So you just sign up for a free trial, and with that free trial, you get 5 user licenses for 14 days. You can add as many channels as you want, and just start using them and playing with the system. What I say to people is, Woot is, it's a fun way to communicate. Rather than sitting here and typing an instant message to you and then looking at my screen, waiting for you to reply. I can literally just click a button, start talking, and just say, "Hey, Mark, how's it going?" And then I can get on with what I'm doing. And if you hear it, you come back to me, or when you come back to your desk, you just start talking to me in real time. But the concept is, it's not one-to-one. The concept is one-to-many. It's part of that team.
And it's not just limited to organization as well. It can be tenant to tenant as well. And that was one of the questions I had for you, because I can see a real interesting use case there for multi-tenanted project work, where you've got different organizations working together to deliver something, whether that's a project, a product, or whatever. You can really see the benefit there of opening up that communication channel. So it is literally like everybody is sat in one virtual room.
So one of the first customers to sign up was a construction company, and construction projects are sort of perfect for it, because what you have with a construction project is you have different suppliers working on the same project, and that's exactly what they've done. So we have a concept of channels in Woot, and so they've created their channels as the different projects, and then added the people from the various teams, not just within their organization.
Yeah, really, really fair. I think it's a really interesting product and concept, and I think it's another way to kind of develop and move on the premise of remote working, because it is a different way of communicating. But it's not an alien way of communicating, because we used to do that when we were all sat in the room together.
So the London School of Economics did a recent study on remote working, and they actually, it was a big study, but they actually worked out, or they're one of the conclusions that came from that study was remote working isn't a problem. It's the tools and the processes that you have that define how productive remote working is.
So I suppose here, if we've got anybody listening to this that has any company leaders, for example, that are looking at their team and going, we've got remote working, we want to improve that effectiveness, and that we don't really want to pull everybody back into an office and everything that goes with that, real estate and all that sort of stuff, then maybe they should come looking for you guys. And
yeah, www.woot.me.
That's not woot.me. There you go.
Woot me.
And it's WHOOT.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, very good. Well, Alex, this has been really, really interesting. It's fun for me to talk to somebody that's kind of in the same game and shares that same passion of technology and the cycling thing. So maybe if there is only ever going to be two people that are interested in this podcast, it's me and you, and that would be the thing. But thank you very much for coming on the podcast. Thank you for kind of talking us through your really interesting history of how you've got to where it is. I'll put in the show notes ways that people can get involved or find out more about the many businesses that you're involved in. But
that's it. I'm not doing any more.
No, well, we'll see. We'll see. I think there's a little bit of serial entrepreneurialism in there with you and developing. But yeah, thank you ever so much, and yeah, appreciate your time.
Yeah, no worries. Good to catch up, Matt.